Hey, you. No time to waste. Let's go.
Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Gareth and this is Book Songs and Other Magic. And this is my first 2024 video for the Historathon 2024. So I did do an announcement that it was happening again this year after it happened all year last year. But this is the first one for this year, and it's basically my ideas and my intentions for the first quarter. So the reason why I say first quarter is that the Historathon splits the year into quarters. So I'll explain what it is. It's a book event that celebrates history and tries to encourage people to read history books. So I don't know if you guys watching have read a lot of history books, but I actually studied it at university. So I've got a BA in history, and I was really into it. I really enjoyed it. It was kind of like a long-standing thread from doing A-levels, and I've been interested in for a long time. Did a philosophy course. I've just been, I'm interested in sociology and the way we work. But history is at the heart of that, and you can get a really good understanding of context for what we do in society from history, I think. So that's why I love history, and that's why it's quite a cool thing to encourage people to read. So if you are on the brink of reading history books, maybe this event will help you to get into history. It's an event that was created by Vin at Revenant Reads. He's got an amazing channel, and he does read and recommend a lot of history books. He came up with this idea of doing a year-long event that splits the year into quarters, and he's brought lots of co-hosts with him. So I'm one of them. I'm a co-host, and there's about 7 of us, I think, something like that. So I'll link all the links to all the other channels in the description below, and obviously link Vin at Revenant Reads channel as well. And you can see what other people's ideas are and how they're approaching the event. But it's a really cool event. And last year it was really good for me because even though I did study it, that was a few years ago, and I actually concentrated on fiction over the last sort of, 6 or 7 years, and I'd left non-fiction behind a little bit. So it was really nice to recapture that spirit again last year. So I'm really keen to do it again this year. And what I'm going to do is try and fill in some gaps as well. So there's a few things, which one of them I'll mention in a minute, I started but didn't get very far in because, again, I think I was kind of trying to get that muscle going again, and a few things just sort of dropped off because of the way that the year was broken up into the quarters. So I'm hoping to make sure I read on all those things I wanted to read about this year. But also I'm going to expand on what I did last year as well. I've got a couple of live streams planned, which I'm hoping that 2 of my lecturers will do that. One's already agreed, which is fantastic, and I haven't actually asked the other one yet, but he actually comes to see my gig, so I'm going to try and ask him in person. So whenever I see him, I'll ask him. And one of them, the one that's agreed to do it, is an expert in the history of immigration and race and the Jewish question, the Holocaust, sort of modern Europe, I guess, and also historiography as well. So it'd be interesting to talk to him about that as well, just the idea of who writes history and how does that affect how we understand history. And he was a fantastic lecturer, and he's agreed to do a live stream. And there's another one who is the expert on Russia, and it'd be really good to talk to him as well. So I'll see if he's up for it. I'm going to try and time those live streams to the periods as much as I can. But having said that, one of them will be probably a broader conversation than the Russian one. But we'll see how that goes anyway. But that's one thing I definitely want to do, which I'm very excited about. And I want to do some themed videos as well, according to certain time periods, which I did talk about in the video I did about Historathon 2024 in December. So I put a video out in December saying it was coming back and saying what my approach was going to be, and that included me talking about that. So have a look at that if you're curious about that. But today, I'm going to be talking about this first quarter, and I've got 5 books that I'm going to talk about. So I'll tell you how the year is split into quarters first, and then we'll talk about the first quarter. So the first 3 months, the first quarter of the month, is basically reading books that are just concerned about prehistory, so history before the dawn of time, up to 500 AD. That's the first block of time. So prehistory, before recorded history, up to 500 AD. Okay, that's the first quarter. Second quarter, which would be April, May, June, is from the year 500 to the year 1500. So it's a whole millennium. So it's a huge expansive years there. So you can look at quite a lot there. The development of feudalism, and when you get to, by the time you get to 1500, you've also had some expansion with sailing across the different lands and discoveries and stuff, but towards the end of that period. But 500 to 1500 is a big expansive time, and there's lots you can explore with that. And then the third quarter of the year, which is July, August, September. July, August, September, the third quarter of the year, is from 1500 to 1820. So the reason why Vin's broken that part of the year up like that is to help out with some of the book events that are concerning fiction reading that might tie in quite nicely, you know, Victober and stuff like that. And there's a Jane Austen event as well, things like that. So it's kind of tied in, so you might want to combine the things together. So 1500 to 1820 is the third quarter. And obviously there you're going to get the period of feudalism changing into the Industrial Revolution. And, you know, you've got the slave trade, you've got all sorts of things happening with colonialism and new theories and philosophies about race and about the Enlightenment period, all that sort of stuff. Loads going on. So that's in that period. And in the last 3 months, the period of October, November, December is basically 1820 to the present day. So what's left? And so much happens in that period. The 20th century was one of those things where loads of things were invented or discovered or developed socially and scientifically and politically and culturally. All those different things happened like at a crazy pace. And some of the most horrific things happened in the 20th century as well. So there's quite a lot you can look at from 1820 to the present day as well. So history is a fascinating thing with billions of stories and lots of different ways to think about humanity and the way it's developed and evolved. And I like the fact that Vin decided to bring in the prehistorical period as well, because we can look at early man. If you're up for doing that, then you can look at early man, or before that, so before men were even on the earth, which is something that I'm going to be doing. So it's a really interesting event that's broken up into 4 quarters, and in the first quarter we're looking at prehistory to 500 AD. So I'm going to tell you about 5 books that I'm going to be reading, and I'm pretty confident I can get through all 5 through the first quarter. So tomorrow I'm going to be going to the library and I'll see if there's anything else I want to add to it, but I'm definitely going to read these 5. And actually I've started the first one already and it's really good. So the first one I'm going to talk about is this one, The Rise and Fall of the Dinosaurs by Steve Brissett. And it's literally the story of the dinosaur age, and not just the Jurassic period, but also but before what we regard as dinosaurs. So the period before the dinosaur periods, because there's lots of different periods of dinosaurs, and the development of that, and what happened at the end. And I read in the introduction, it kind of spells out the fact that the stereotype of the dinosaur is very misleading, and they were much more nuanced and complex than the stereotype dinosaur that you see in films and that. makes you believe. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that's developed. This is a really well-revered book as well. And this was recommended to me by Brandy from Oct-Dec. But I know there's a few people in the Historathon chat that's already read this. So I know that it's, you know, been in the ether of BookTube anyway. But Brandy from Oct-Dec talked about this earlier in the year. And I'm really looking forward to carrying on with this. I've already started it, but I'm looking forward to reading more of this because it's really good. So the rise and fall of the dinosaurs. Everyone loves a dinosaur. The rise and fall, that's the first one. I'm also going to be looking at a book called Why Evolution is True by Jerry Coyne. So I think the opportunity to springboard off the event to read about prehistory is also a nice opportunity to think about evolution. Weirdly, it's a hotly debated topic. To me, it seems very strange that there are people in the world, and apparently it seems to be that there's a lot of people in America that think that evolution is a belief system. And that's a huge misunderstanding of what science is. But anyway, I'm going to be reading this and I'm going to be doing a video about this. I'm going to do a video on all these books and I'll be doing a video about this and talking about what I got from it. I don't know if it sounds like it's a bit confrontational in a sense. It could be referring to the creationist argument because why evolution is true sounds like defensive, doesn't it? So if that's the case, I'll be looking at that as well in the video on the book. So it does look really interesting. I'll be looking at it. Richard Dawkins says it's compelling, masterful, and outstandingly good. I've got a book by Richard Dawkins that I wanted to read last year. Again, I didn't get to it, which was called The Greatest Show on Earth. I've got that somewhere as well. But Why Evolution is True seems to be a very straightforward, interesting response to creationism, which is weird. So that's two of the books I'll be looking at. So there's a little bit of a tease into philosophy and belief systems and our sense of humanity from that. And as we're going into the ancient world, I'm going to be looking at Aristotle's book on ethics as well. So throughout my 2024 Historathon, I want to be touching on philosophy because I think it's intrinsically linked into historical investigations and historical research because the way that philosophers adapted previous writings into their own writings so that we developed a wider understanding or different understandings about the way we think and the way we act and the way society works. That is an historical journey. That's a historical trajectory. So I think it'll be good to have this spiritual journey through the year coinciding with this sort of more physical journey about things that happened. So it'd be like things that people thought as well as things that happened through those years. So I definitely want to do that as a consistent thing through the year. And part of that for this first period, we'll be looking at Aristotle's ethics. So there we are. So that'd be a nice addition to what we're looking at. Also, I want to be looking at this really highly revered study of Rome by Mary Beard. So SBQR, A History of Ancient Rome, is one of the most celebrated books about ancient Rome. And I sought this out last year to make sure I had it because I wanted to read it as a staple part of education about Roman history. But I didn't get very far, which is why I'm picking it up again in this quarter. And I'm going to read this in the next couple of months. And since... so like literally in the last couple of months I've watched lots of documentaries that she's done as well. So Mary Beard's documentaries are really good, so definitely recommend that. And she is a really good presenter actually as well, so I'm looking forward to reading more of this. I did really like it, I just didn't get very far. I kind of got about that far, I guess, so not that far. Well, I was that far, but not that far. So yeah, Mary Beard's SPQR is a big feature of my quarter for this first period in the Historathon. And then the other book I'm going to be concentrating on, so the fifth book I'm going to be concentrating on, is a book again about ancient Rome, and this time it's written by just one of my favourite people, but he's got a very strong passion and knowledge of history, so it's really nice that I'm going to be including Terry Jones's writings in my look into this first period as well. So Terry Jones has written a few historical books, and this is called Barbarians, and it's an alternative Roman history. So in this entertaining book, Terry Jones and Alan Herrera have set the record straight, travelling through 700 years of history across Europe, Asia and Africa. They bring wit, irreverence, passion and the very latest scholarship to transform our view of the much misunderstood barbarians. Okay, so that's Terry Jones' Barbarians, funded by the BBC. I'm looking forward to this. So that's the fifth book I'll be looking at in that series. So as we're in this period that goes from ancient history to, prehistory through ancient history up to the year 500 AD, I also want to know what you guys think of this idea of me doing a video about Greek theatre, because I recently taught that in one of my lessons, because I'm teaching performing arts this year, and it's one of the things we covered in the lessons. And if you're interested in that, I can do a video about Greek theatre as well, because it's quite interesting. Some things that might surprise you if you don't know about it, and some really cool things, and some quite radical things in there as well, and also some things that are not radical at all. But anyway, if you want that, I can add that to this period as well. So there we are. That's the first period, those 5 books, some of the ideas I've got. Let me know below which of those things you're keen to see or you're interested in, or if any of those books are attractive, and what things you're going to read for this first period in Historathon. Thanks a lot, guys. Big shout out to the other co-hosts. Stay curious, everyone. Thanks a lot. Bye.
Paint me a picture